One night an entire town went to sleep. By morning it was gone. Not destroyed, not abandoned, gone. No bodies, no wreckage, no note. Just empty houses, cold meals still on tables, and a silence so complete it would haunt investigators for decades. The town was Hoer Verde, a small settlement in the Brazilian state of Minas Gerais. The year was 1923. 600 people lived there. Farmers, families, children, a priest, a doctor. An ordinary place in an ordinary part of the world. And then, on one February night, every single one of them disappeared. When travelers passed through the following morning, they found the village exactly as it had been left, as if everyone had simply stood up mid-meal and walked away. A gun had been fired recently. One shot. The barrel was still warm. On the schoolhouse blackboard, someone had written a single sentence in chalk. It read, "There is no salvation." No one ever explained it. No one ever found them. Disappearances like this pull at something deep in us. We tell ourselves the world is mapped, known, cataloged. And then a story like Hoer Verde comes along and reminds us that even now, entire chapters of human history have simply closed without an ending. There are only a handful of cases in recorded history where a populated settlement vanished without a traceable cause. The Lost Colony of Roanoke is the most famous. In 1590, English explorer John White returned to the colony he had helped establish on Roanoke Island, off the coast of present-day North Carolina. He had left 115 men, women, and children behind 3 years earlier. He came back to find every single one of them gone. No sign of struggle. No graves, just a single word carved into a post, Croatoan. Historians have debated that word for over 400 years. Was it the name of a nearby island, a people, a warning, a clue? To this day, no definitive answer exists. The colonists of Roanoke became one of the longest-running mysteries in American history, and the template against which every subsequent disappearance has been measured. But what makes mass disappearances so psychologically destabilizing is not just the absence of people. It is the presence of everything else, the objects left behind, the meals uneaten, the doors unlocked, the fires still burning. These details force us to confront the gap between what we can see and what we can explain, and that gap, for most people, never fully closes. Psychologists who study collective trauma note that communities surrounding a mass disappearance often fracture, not from grief alone, but from uncertainty. Grief has a shape. Uncertainty does not. When the people of a neighboring town learn that 600 people vanished overnight and no one can say why, the question they really cannot stop asking is not what happened to them. It is what stopped it from happening to us. Some disappearances do have explanations, eventually. Industrial disasters, government cover-ups, mass migration driven by drought or violence, quietly erased from official records. The town of Centralia, Pennsylvania did not vanish overnight, but over decades, as a coal mine fire burning beneath its streets drove out every last resident until the government officially revoked its zip code in 2002. A town of over 1,000 people, reduced to a handful of stubborn holdouts, and a name on a map that led nowhere. But Hoer Verde has no such explanation. No fire, no flood, no record of migration, no mass grave ever found. Brazilian authorities investigated and closed the case without resolution. The settlement itself was eventually reclaimed by vegetation. Today, there is almost nothing left to mark that it existed at all. Which is the strangest part of all? Not that 600 people disappeared, but that the place that held them disappeared too. As if the world decided that some questions are not meant to be answered, as if the silence itself was the only truth left. One night an entire town went asleep, and somewhere out there, if you listen closely enough, that silence is still speaking.